Hare Krishna, my friends. Welcome to Bhaktiville. This is Dasi Lane, and we're streaming from our Shishi Radhakrishna temple here in Bhaktiville. We have a nice collection of devotees here today. I'm very happy to see you all. And welcome to everyone who's streaming, listening to us streaming live on Facebook. So we'll be continuing our brief look at the Shikshastika today. We'll look at verse number 4, then read from the teachings of Lord Caitanya. Let me put this information in chat for people here in Bhaktiville. Oops, not that one. That's not what I meant to put in chat. Hang on. You can read about this class that Kanagan Koro Base wants us to know about. There it is. So in our teachings of Lord Caitanya in the PDF, we'll be on page 53, and we'll finish Lord Chaitanya's mission in the front matter and start the first chapter. We'll also continue with our new format of comments, questions, and answers at the end, and then kirtan and dancing. Yay! All right, so the fourth verse that we're looking at tonight, if you look up at the slideshow on the wall there, we're looking at verse number 4. And the question that arises from verse number 4 is, what is the desire of the sadhaka, the practitioner? And this verse still is part of sampanda, the knowledge that the practitioner needs to know. And here's Srila Prabhupada's translation. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor I have any desire to enjoy beautiful women. Neither do I want any number of followers of mine. What I want only is that I may have your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. So I just want to say something about the translation, or the original text. The original text is not dhanam, which means I don't want wealth. Dhanam is wealth. Then it says na janam, which means no people. So Srila Prabhupada has said desire to enjoy beautiful women. And it's not just beautiful women, it's men, it's women, it's whatever it is you enjoy, including numbers of followers. So that's he's expanded on that in his translation to include all of these other things that people may be desirous of. It also says after that, na sundaram kavitam, which is I don't want knowledge from beautiful poetic language. So that would be, different Vedic kinds of knowledge, which is in poetic form. So just to look at the meaning of those words a little bit more, to give a little more meaning to the verse itself. So these are some of the lists that I have following are some of the areas that we could look at or think about when we read this verse. So the sadhaka possessed of faith should first of all hear the holy name of Shri Hari emanating from the mouth of the spiritual master. And thereafter, being freed from all offenses, he should chant Harinam with great faith. So the offenses would be these things. I don't want the wealth. I don't want these desires. I don't want this number of followers, and once you do that, then you can chant Harinam with faith. And by chanting the Lord's name on the next slide, could someone click on the little arrow to go to the next slide? Thank you. So by chanting the Lord's name according to this method, the 4 symptoms mentioned in verse 3, to be humble, tolerant, and devoid of false prestige, and respectful to all, will manifest in their heart. But accompanying this positive assertion is a negative consideration. If the sadhaka does not give up all connection with the sensual happiness of this material world, his pure spiritual form will not arise. Without awakening of his real spiritual identity, bhakti, whose essence is the hladani or bliss potency, cannot be transformed into bhava bhakti, which is devotion characterized by ecstatic love. So this explanation is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who wrote a book on Shikshastakam, and this is his introductory paragraph to this verse. I always find his explanations really so illuminating. So I hope that is also for you. All right, let's move on to any questions about that verse? Okay, we'll move on. We're on page 58, or 53, 53 of the PDF. And we're right smack dab in the middle of that page. So I'll just go ahead and read. So Srila Prabhupada just talked about Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and so then he moves on. So far, Krishna Das Kaviraj has discussed Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda, and now he describes Advaita Charya. In our morning prayers, we sing the names of Lord Caitanya and his associates. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas Adigora Bhaktavrinda. They are all expansions of the same one. So Advaita Charya is an expansion of Mahavishnu. You have seen the picture of Mahavishnu lying on the causal ocean and breathing out innumerable universes. That Mahavishnu is incarnated as Advaita. This Advaita Charya is the incarnation of that Mahavishnu, who creates this material world through the agency of the material energy. Therefore, Advaita Charya is also the Lord, or an expansion of the Lord. Why is he called Advaita? Advaita means non-dual. His name is such because he is non-different from the Supreme Lord. And he is called Acharya, or teacher, because he disseminated Krishna consciousness. In this, he is just like Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he is Sri Krishna himself, he appeared as a devotee to teach how to love Krishna. So Advaita Acharya appeared just to distribute the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. He is also the incarnation of a devotee. Krishna is manifested in 5 different expansions, and himself and all of his other associates appear as devotees of the Supreme Lord. Some of them are like Advaita Acharya. He is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. And one is known as Bhakta Nityananda Prabhu, who also appeared as a devotee. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the source of energy for all devotees. If we take shelter of Caitanya Mahaprabhu for Krishna consciousness, it becomes very easy. There is a very nice song. My dear Lord Caitanya, please have mercy upon me, because there is no one who is such a merciful Lord as you are. You have descended to deliver all fallen souls, but you will not find a more fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim to be delivered is most urgent. Because your mission is to deliver the fallen souls, and nobody is more fallen than me, I have priority. Now, as the author begins his obeisances to Krishna, now the author begins his obeisances to Krishna. The author, Krishna Das, was an inhabitant of Vrindavan. Some incidents from his life will be described in the 5th chapter of the Caitanya Charitamrita. He was a great devotee. He had been living in Katwa, a small subdivisional city in the district of Bardwan in Bengal. with his family, who also worshipped Radha Krishna, when there was some misunderstanding, not on family matters, but about devotional service. In the midst of this misunderstanding, Nityananda Prabhu advised him in a dream to leave his home and go to Vrindavan. Although he was very old, he started out that very night and came to live at Vrindavan. He met some of the Goswamis there. His tomb remains in the temple where I live in Vrindavan. That's the Shri Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, where Srila Prabhupada lived. This is Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Caitanya Charitamrita. This Caitanya Charitamrita was requested by the devotees of Vrindavan. He began at a very old age, but by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, he finished this nice, most authoritative book on Chaitanya's philosophy and life, the character and activities of the eternal living force. Because he lived in Vrindavan, there are 3 temples that are very important. One temple is Madan Mohan, another is Govinda, and the third is Gopinath. These temples are the ones visited by all pilgrims. About 300 or 400 years after the construction of these temples, with the development of Vrindavan city, many other temples were built. But when Krishna Das Goswami was living, there were not so many. The only principal temples were these 3, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath. Because he was a resident of Vrindavan, he must offer his respects to the deities, and his first offering is respect. He considers himself as a layman and very slow to make progress. He asks God's favor. My progress in spiritual life is very slow, so I am asking your help. He is offering his obeisances first to Vigraha. Vigraha, according to devotional service, is the deity who can help us in dovetailing ourselves with Krishna consciousness. Our first business is to know Krishna and to know our relationship with Krishna. To know Krishna is to know oneself, and to know oneself means to know one's relationship with Krishna. What is our relationship with Krishna? That is learned by worshipping Madan Mohan Vigraha. Therefore, Krishna Das Goswami first establishes his relationship with Madan Mohan Vigraha. When one is established in relationship with Krishna, then he begins his function. The functional deity is Govinda. He offers his obeisances to Govinda, who resides in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the place where there are desire trees. Actually, in the spiritual world of Vrindavan, it is explained that the land is of touchstone, and the trees are desire trees. Desire tree means whatever you want, you can have. And the Lord is herding spiritual cows known as Surabi cows. And he is worshipped by hundreds and thousands of gopis, who are all goddesses of fortune. When Krishna descends, the same Vrindavan descends. Just as when a governor or a president goes to some place, all his entourage and paraphernalia, secretary, military, everything goes there with him. Similarly, when Krishna comes, his land also comes. Therefore, Vrindavan is considered to be not in the material world, and therefore devotees take shelter in Vrindavan. Vrindavan in India is considered the replica of the original Vrindavan, and so one should accept the trees of Vrindavan as being the same Kalpabriksha, desire trees. Now, one may say of the Vrindavan trees, "Oh, can we ask anything?" But first of all, you should become a devotee. You simply cannot go and test them to see whether these trees are desire trees. Actually, when the Goswamis were there, the Kalpabriksha was there. The Goswamis were each under one tree for one night, and all their wants were satisfied. So how could they live that way unless the trees were so nice as desire trees? For the common man, it seems very wonderful that the Goswamis could simply live underneath one tree one night and the next tree another night and have everything they needed. But it is all possible. As we make progress in our devotional service, we can realize this. There is another devotee, an acharya, who describes Vrindavan. When my mind becomes cleansed of all dirty hankering for material enjoyment, then I shall be able to see Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is actually experienced by persons who have finished with material enjoyment. Everything is spiritual. This becomes revealed. We cannot challenge it. As you become more Krishna conscious, as you become more advanced, everything is revealed to you. Actually, Vrindavan is as good as the spiritual Vrindavan, and therefore Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that underneath one of the desire trees of Vrindavan, there is a nice throne decorated with valuable jewels on which Radharani and Krishna are seated, and his dear friends and the gopis are all serving them. Somebody is singing, somebody is dancing, somebody is offering betel nuts and refreshment, somebody is decorating with flowers. In this way, there are 108 gopis who are the constant companions of Sri Radha and Krishna. That scene is described in Caitanya Charitamrita. In India, it is still a fashion of recreation to sit on a swinging throne, and if it is moving, it is very refreshing. In each and every home they have a hanging throne, and when a man comes home from the office, if it is practical, it is moved for some time and he becomes refreshed. So similarly, the same system prevails, especially in the month of Shravan, in July, when there is a function called Julan. During Julan, in all the houses, not only of Vrindavan, but all over India, the people hang thrones. In every house and village, they place Krishna and Radha and decorate them with flowers, and move the throne and offer dancing and kirtan. If you like, you can introduce that system here. Julan goes on for 1 month. The temples are decorated and thousands of visitors come as spectators. Generally, people go to Vrindavan at that time. Krishna and Radha are seated on the throne, surrounded by his friends. I offer my respects to Radha and Krishna, Krishnadas says. This Radha and Krishna deity shows us how to serve Radha and Krishna. Madan Mohan is simply to establish that I am your eternal servant. Now in Govinda, there is actually acceptance of service. Therefore, it is the functional deity. The next deity is Gopinath. The author offers blessings here to the audience in the name of Gopinath, the master or proprietor of the gopis, who attracted all the gopis by the sound of his flute, because he wanted to dance with them. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this is described. Some of the gopis are sleeping somewhere with their husbands. Some are taking milk. Some are caring for their children. They were all busy young girls. But as soon as they heard Krishna's flute, they at once left their places. All these gopis were childhood friends. In India, the girls are married by the age of 12 years, and the boys are married at not less than 18 years. Krishna was not married at that time, as he was a boy 15 or 16 years old. So he called these girlfriends from their homes, although they were married, and they used to come and dance together. That is called the rasa dance. Hearing the transcendental sound of the flute, as soon as he would sound the vibration, all the gopis would come and join him at the particular place, which is called Banshibat. If you go to Vrindavan, you will find that Banshibat still exists. It is a very sanctified place, and pilgrims go there and offer their respects. Believe it or not, it is said that there are the same trees that were there at the time of Krishna. This is not so astonishing, however, because I saw some redwood trees in Muir Forest in San Francisco, which were said to be 7,000 years old. So it is not impossible. Krishna advented 5,000 years ago, and if some of the trees are still standing, it is not unprecedented, because here also there are very old trees. The particular tree under which Krishna used to call the gopis to come and dance, the rasa dance at night with him, that tree is still there. That is described in Caitanya Charitamrita. May that Gopinath, the master of the gopis, Krishna, bless you. May you become blessed by Gopinath. Gopinath is called for blessing because he used to attract the gopis. As he attracted the gopis by the sweet sound of his flute, so the offer desires that he may also attract your mind by that transcendental vibration. Jai. Any questions about that so far? Hare Krishna, it's wonderful, huh? It is very nice. We'll keep reading. We're not going yet. But those were lectures. The introduction is a transcription of some lectures that Srila Prabhupada gave about the teachings of Lord Caitanya, or about the Caitanya Charitamrita. So we're about to move into the text, and it's a summary study of the Caitanya Charitamrita. So we'll read just a few pages to get a taste. Teachings of Lord Caitanya, Part 1. Chapter 1. Teachings to Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami, the younger brother of Sanatan Goswami, went to Prayag, the modern Allahabad, with his younger brother, Ballabha. And when they heard that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying there, both of them became very pleased. They went to see Lord Chaitanya and saw that the Lord was going to visit the temple of Bindu Madhava. While the Lord was going, chanting and dancing, thousands of people were following him, and some of them were crying, some were laughing, some were dancing, and some singing. Some of them were fallen on the ground, offering obeisances to the Lord, and all of them were roaring with the holy name of Krishna, Krishna. Prayag is situated on the confluence of the rivers Ganges and Yamuna. It is said that in spite of being at the junction of two rivers, it remained without being overflooded until the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, when the city was overflooded by the tide of love of Krishna. The two brothers, Rupa Goswami and Ballabha, saw the great crowd and the wonderful scene, staying aloof in an uncrowded place. The Lord was dancing, raising his two hands and roaring with the words, Haribo! Haribo! All the people assembled there were astonished, struck with wonder at the Lord's activity, and it is very difficult to describe the actual situation. The Lord was acquainted with one Deccanist Brahmin, that's someone from the south, from the Deccan Plateau, and the Lord came back to the Brahmin's house to accept prasadam. While Lord Chaitanya was sitting at the house of this Deccanist Brahmin, the two brothers, Rupa Goswami and Ballabha, arrived there. From a distant place, they fell down on the ground to offer obeisances, and were chanting many Sanskrit verses from scriptures. The Lord saw Rupa Goswami in front of him, thus offering obeisances. He was very much pleased and asked him, "My dear Rupa, please get up." The Lord informed Rupa Goswami about the causeless mercy of Krishna on him, because Krishna had delivered him from the materialistic way of life, which is based simply on pound, shilling, and pence. The Lord accepted the two brothers as his own devotees and cited one verse from the scriptures which states that a Brahmin who has studied the 4 Vedas may not be his devotee, but a pure devotee coming from a very low family may be accepted by him. The Lord then embraced the 2 brothers, and by his causeless mercy, he touched his lotus feet on their heads. When they were so blessed, both the brothers came to offer their prayers to the Lord in their own words. The prayers said that Lord Sri Krishna Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, has assumed the form of fair complexion, Gauranga, and is the most munificent incarnation of Krishna, because he is distributing love of Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami also quoted one verse, which was later on found in the book Govinda Lilamrita. The verse says as follows, "Let me be surrendered unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the greatest, most merciful personality of Godhead, and who delivers those merged in ignorance, and offers them the highest gift of love of Krishna, and thus makes them mad after Krishna consciousness." And that is a perfect place to stop. So we'll stop there and pick up in the same place next week. Any questions about what we've been reading? Oh, I know. I wanted to say that Balaba is the younger brother. He's often referred to as Anupama. So if you see that name later on, you'll know it's the younger brother of Rupa Goswami. Comments? Questions? So these summary studies are pretty nice. It would be nice to read the whole Caitanya Charitamrita, but we would be here for a very, very, very long time. And so we can read it at home. You know, Prabhupada wanted us to read a little bit every day, so you can work your way through it. And all these books are available online, so there's no cost involved. No questions? All right, Bhakti, let's turn up the music and let's... Oh yeah, we also have books here in Bhaktiville, over in our library, which is behind me, that little building behind me. So I'm going to turn up the music. We decided I would turn it up. So let's see, I'm going to do start all. There it is. Can you hear it? Okay, so there's a dance ball there. Let's all dance. Hare Krishna, nice to see you all. See you next week. Okay, I'll turn mine off, sorry. Okay, mine's off. But we have a dance ball over here. This thing that looks like the moon. Or the sun. This is what we do best. Haribol! Haribol!